Los Angeles, the city of angels, dreams, and endless opportunity, woke up to a nightmare in January 2025. A raging inferno turned the urban sprawl into a fiery battleground, tearing apart neighborhoods, displacing families, and exposing the fragile underpinnings of one of the world's most iconic cities. It wasn't just the fire itself that shocked the world. It was how quickly it spread, how unprepared the city seemed, and how devastating its impact was on the people who called it home. What started as a spark in an industrial zone unleashed destruction on an unimaginable scale. Today, we'll take you through the story of how Los Angeles burned in January 2025. The causes, the chaos, the heroes, and the lessons we all must learn before it's too late. Stay with me to the end because this isn't just about Los Angeles. It's a warning for every city in the world. Welcome to Sky TV, the calm before the storm. To truly understand what happened, we need to look at the conditions leading up to January 2025. Los Angeles had been under mounting pressure from climate change for years. Experts had warned that the city's infrastructure, urban planning, and natural environment were becoming increasingly vulnerable to disasters. While January is typically one of LA's cooler months, 2025 brought record-breaking dryness and unseasonably warm temperatures. To make matters worse, the city was recovering from months of rolling blackouts and a strained water supply. With no rain in sight and winds picking up, the city became a powder keg. But as we all know, disasters rarely give us a warning. When the fire began, Los Angeles had no idea it was about to face one of the most catastrophic events in its history. The ignition. It all began on the night of January 12, 2025. At approximately 8:43 p.m., an explosion was reported at an industrial warehouse in the Vernon district, just a few miles from downtown Los Angeles. The facility stored flammable chemicals and was located dangerously close to densely populated areas. Within minutes, flames shot into the night sky, sending plumes of thick black smoke billowing over the city. Firefighters were dispatched immediately, but what they encountered was far worse than they had anticipated. By midnight, the fire had jumped to nearby structures, including residential buildings and smaller businesses. Strong Santa Ana winds, blowing at 45 to 60 miles per hour, carried embers far beyond the fire's origin, starting new blazes in neighborhoods miles away. What began as a localized industrial accident had transformed into a full-blown urban wildfire. Chaos and desperation. Los Angeles was unprepared for what followed. As the fire grew, so did the chaos. Entire neighborhoods were placed under immediate evacuation orders. But for many residents, the warning came too late. The fire spread so quickly that some people were forced to flee on foot, leaving their cars behind in gridlocked streets. The scenes were apocalyptic. Highways clogged with panicked drivers, ash falling from the sky like snow, and the haunting orange glow of flames in the distance. For those trapped in the fire's path, the only option was to run. Emergency shelters quickly filled to capacity, but resources were stretched thin. Families huddled together in makeshift evacuation centers, unsure if their homes, or even their loved ones, had survived. Hospitals were inundated with patients suffering from burns, smoke inhalation, and injuries sustained during the evacuations. Amid the chaos, misinformation spread like wildfire on social media. Some claimed the fire was an act of arson or even terrorism, while others blamed government negligence. The uncertainty only fueled the panic, making it even harder for authorities to coordinate a response. Stories of heroism and tragedy. In times of crisis, the worst and best of humanity often come to light, and the January 2025 fire was no exception. Firefighters became the city's unsung heroes, battling the flames for days with little rest. One harrowing story involved a crew that rescued dozens of residents trapped in an apartment complex near Koreatown. Despite being surrounded by flames and running out of water, they managed to lead everyone to safety, risking their own lives in the process. Ordinary citizens also stepped up in extraordinary ways. A delivery driver named Carlos Rivera became a local hero after using his van to evacuate residents from a senior center. He went back and forth through the flames multiple times, saving over 20 lives. But not every story had a happy ending. The fire claimed the lives of over 75 people, including children and elderly residents who couldn't escape in time. Entire families were torn apart, and countless pets and wildlife perished in the flames. The emotional toll was staggering, leaving scars that would take years to heal. The aftermath. When the fire was finally contained after 6 relentless days, the destruction it left behind was almost incomprehensible. Over 10,000 buildings were destroyed or severely damaged, and more than 300,000 people were displaced, many of whom had nowhere to return. The economic impact was equally devastating. Preliminary estimates put the cost of damages at over $15 billion, making it one of the most expensive disasters in California's history. Small businesses, already struggling from the pandemic's lingering effects, were hit the hardest. In the months that followed, investigations revealed a troubling pattern of negligence and oversight. The industrial warehouse where the fire began had been flagged for safety violations multiple times, but enforcement had been lax. Local leaders faced harsh criticism for failing to address the city's vulnerability to such disasters, and public trust in government institutions was shaken. A call for change. But the January 2025 fire also became a turning point, a moment when Los Angeles was forced to confront its vulnerabilities and commit to change. City officials announced sweeping reforms, including stricter regulations for industrial zones, improved emergency response systems, and massive investments in fire prevention infrastructure. Urban planners began rethinking how the city could be made more resilient, with initiatives to create fire breaks, expand green spaces, and reduce reliance on aging infrastructure. The fire also reignited the global conversation around climate change. Activists pointed to the disaster as a clear example of the risks posed by a warming planet. Protests erupted across the state, demanding action to address the root causes of climate-driven disasters. The January 2025 Los Angeles fire wasn't just a disaster. It was a turning point. It exposed the cracks in our systems, the dangers of inaction, and the urgent need to prepare for a changing world. But it also showed us the power of resilience, of people coming together in the face of unimaginable loss, of ordinary heroes stepping up when it mattered most. Now it's up to all of us to learn from this tragedy. Are our cities prepared for the challenges of the future? Are we doing enough to address the root causes of these disasters? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think. If this story moved you, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories that uncover the events shaping our world. Together, we can stay informed, inspired, and ready for whatever comes next. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.